Welcome back to the sanctuary of hidden truths. Welcome back to Anything You Want. In a world where fame is often constructed from carefully polished mirrors and smoke, we are here to look through the glass and find the human pulse beating beneath the celebrity armor. You have tuned in because you understand that the most profound stories are not found in press releases, but in the quiet, unguarded moments where the soul speaks its native language. Before we descend into the emotional labyrinth of today's story, please take a moment to anchor yourself in our community. Press the subscribe button, ignite the like button to help us navigate the algorithm, and if you wish to support independent, high-frequency analysis of the stars you love, our join button is open. Your exclusive support allows us to continue crafting these deep-dive narratives. Today, we are not discussing a red carpet triumph or a ratings victory. We are discussing a moment of profound vulnerability, a whisper at a funeral that has reignited a firestorm of speculations surrounding Afra Sarıkoglu and Mert Ramazan Demir. Let us begin. The setting was somber, a stark contrast to the blinding lights of the television sets where we are accustomed to seeing her reign. Afra Sarıkoglu, one of the most luminous talents of her generation, attended a funeral recently, an event that by its very nature strips away the artifices of celebrity. Dressed in the color of mourning, her silhouette was a study in dignified sorrow. Witnesses describe a scene where the actress, usually a beacon of vibrant energy, seemed to have retreated into an internal fortress. Her demeanor was calm but undeniably withdrawn, a protective shell constructed to weather the storm of grief. Tears were visible in her eyes, not the calculated tears of a dramatic scene, but the raw, unscripted saline of genuine loss. For much of the ceremony, she reportedly avoided engagement, preferring the company of her own thoughts to the condolences of the crowd. It was in this heavy atmosphere, where silence is usually the loudest sound, that a single sentence reportedly escaped her lips, a sentence that has since rippled through the entertainment industry with the force of a tidal wave. As she navigated the delicate exit from the ceremony, attempting to leave the weight of the occasion behind her, she briefly fielded questions from the press. However, it was not her public answers that captured the world's attention, but a private murmur overheard by her inner circle. "If Mert had been by my side, I wouldn't have suffered so much." This alleged confession, whispered in a moment of emotional nudity, did not merely express a wish for company. It exposed a profound psychological dependency. It was a sentence that bridged the gap between the past and the present, instantly drawing the gaze of the public back to the enigmatic figure of Mert Ramazan Demir. We must pause here and ask you, the empathetic viewers of Anything You Want, do you believe that in our darkest moments, the names we call out are the ones our hearts truly belong to? Is this a cry for a lost love, or simply the need for a trusted friend? We want to hear your analysis in the comments below. And remember, if you appreciate this level of detailed storytelling, clicking the join button is the best way to keep our channel thriving. To understand the weight of these 7 words, one must first dissect the history they reference. Afra Sarıkoglu and Mert Ramazan Demir are not merely colleagues, they are the architects of one of the most compelling on-screen chemistries in recent Turkish television history. Their shared project was a phenomenon, but it was the energy between the takes that fascinated the audience. Their candid interviews, the palpable respect they afforded one another, and the way their eyes seemed to communicate in a secret dialect all pointed to a bond that transcended the professional. While rumors of a romantic entanglement were the constant background radiation of their partnership, never definitively confirmed, yet never convincingly denied, the emotional connection was undeniable. They were each other's anchor in the chaotic sea of production. This context transforms Sarıkoglu's funeral statement from a casual remark into a revelation. According to deep background sources within her circle, Afra is a woman who, despite her public strength, craves a sanctuary of trust during her most vulnerable episodes. Mert Ramazan Demir is said to represent that sanctuary. He is described as a grounding force, a man whose calm demeanor and balanced perspective provide a counterweight to the emotional turbulence of life in the spotlight. When Afra whispered his name in the shadow of grief, she was not just asking for a person, she was asking for a feeling, the feeling of safety. Insiders suggest that Sarıkoglu's longing for Demir is rooted in a psychological need for safety. It is an open secret behind the scenes that during the high-stress periods of filming, it was Mert she turned to for stability. He was the calm in her storm. Therefore, it is argued that her instinctive thought to summon him during the trauma of a funeral is a natural reflex. When the walls are closing in, the heart seeks the door it knows best. However, in the ruthless court of celebrity gossip, natural rarely equates to innocent. The interpretation of this reflex has divided the community. Is this the longing of a friend missing her confidant? Or is it the subconscious confession of a woman who realizes that her emotional landscape is still dominated by a specific man? As we peel back these layers of human emotion, I want to remind you that Anything You Want is dedicated to treating these stories with the dignity they deserve. If you are enjoying this narrative, please hit the like button. It tells us that you value depth over sensationalism. And for those who want to support our mission directly, the Super Thanks feature is always available. Further complicating this narrative are reports regarding Afra Sarıkoglu's recent emotional state. Sources close to the actress intimate that she has been navigating a period of intense internal struggle. While she presents a facade of composure, the hallmark of a professional who knows the cameras are always rolling. The burden of her private battles has reportedly been overwhelming. The funeral likely acted as a catalyst, a breaking point where the dam of her restraint finally gave way. In this context, mentioning Mert was perhaps a knee-jerk reaction, an involuntary spasm of the soul. But as any student of psychology, or celebrity gossip, knows, knee-jerk reactions are often the most honest ones. They bypass the filters of PR training and social expectation, delivering a raw truth that the conscious mind tries to hide. For a woman who has built a reputation on being level-headed and private, famously stating that not everything needs to be shared with everyone, this public slip is monumental. It contradicts her disciplined image and suggests that beneath the surface, there is a reservoir of unresolved feeling that is threatening to overflow. The fact that she did not filter this thought, that she allowed it to be voiced in a semi-public sphere, raises the provocative question, is she no longer capable of, or perhaps no longer interested in, hiding this longing? On the other side of this equation stands the stoic figure of Mert Ramazan Demir. His reaction, or rather, his lack thereof, is a story in itself. Known for his preference for silence and his aversion to the sensationalist machinery of the press, Mert has remained characteristically mute on the subject. However, silence is a canvas upon which the public paints its own pictures. To some, his silence is a sign of respect, a refusal to turn a friend's grief into a headline. To others, it is a strategic distance. Yet, behind-the-scenes whispers persist that the bond between them was never truly severed. Even after their professional paths diverged, it is claimed that they maintained a line of communication, meeting occasionally through mutual friends in encounters defined by warmth and familiarity. If this is true, then Afra's words are not a cry into the void, but a message to a recipient who is still very much within range. The debate ignited by this singular sentence will likely burn for months. Social media is already a battlefield of interpretations, with one camp declaring this the ultimate proof of an enduring love, and the other viewing it as the nostalgia of a difficult friendship. What is indisputable is that Afra Sarıkoglu, in a moment of profound sadness, revealed the coordinates of her comfort zone, and those coordinates pointed directly to Mert Ramazan Demir. She showed us that even the brightest stars cast shadows, and in those shadows, they reach out for the hands that once held them up. Whether this is an unfinished story or a chapter that simply refuses to close, only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the echo of her whisper has changed the way we look at them both. And that, dear viewers, is the story of a whisper that roared. We have walked through the somber reality of a funeral to uncover the gleaming truth of human connection. Now, the stage is yours. Do you think Mert will respond to this indirect plea? And do you believe that some bonds are simply too strong to ever truly break? Share your theories, your hopes, and your thoughts in the comments section below. Do not forget to subscribe to Anything You Want and ring the bell so you never miss a beat of our analysis. For those who want to be part of our inner circle, the join button is waiting. Until the next secret is revealed, keep listening closely. Goodbye.